Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Google Hangout here. It's Glenn Dietzel here, and let me just get all of our lighting here set up. Nothing like speed to market. I've just been busy finalizing and vetting people for a couple of positions that we have remaining for one-on-one mentoring. I've been overwhelmed, and I want to, for those of you that have had a chance to meet with me one-on-one and have gone through our application process and gone through each of the steps, congratulations. It's been a pleasure to meet you, and for those of you that are lucky enough to get accepted, I really look forward to working with you. You're going to love Omega and some of the really cool programs that we have. But I want to welcome all of you to our Business Breakthrough Google Hangout. If you're new to our Business Breakthrough Google Hangout, I am Glenn Dietzel here. I'm the president of Awakened LLC. We've been focusing on helping clients command premium prices and royalties for their advice for the last 12 years. We've created some pretty cool systems. And today, I want to talk to you about how to create a USP that will allow you to command top value, top dollar for your coaching, consulting, high-end training programs. If you've been following us, you know that what I cover, and I put out this little challenge, every Google Hangout, you can Google the concepts that I'm going to share with you. You won't find this anywhere. And if you do find it, and it's starting to, because people are copying me, some of the my clients are leveraging our systems, but everything I'm teaching is 100% proprietary, and I'm excited. Why? Because it's going to allow you to command premium prices for your coaching, consulting, high-end training programs. It's going to create leverage for you, which you absolutely need, must have in today's business world, and I look forward to sharing with you today. I've got a lot I want to cover. First of all, our Lifestyle Entrepreneur magazine, April's issue, we were derailed a little bit. It was supposed to come out the middle of the week of last week the week before. It came out last week, and we're featuring a number of really great stories, a lot of really cutting-edge articles, and right now, if you have an iPhone or an iPad, you can tap into the power of Lifestyle Entrepreneur magazine, which is my passion. It's what I teach my clients on how to build what we call an ROIT business, return on invested time, and how to scale your coaching, consulting, multi-million-dollar training business. How do you scale that in a predictable, measurable way that's going to allow you an ROIT business, return on invested time, so you're not trading time for money. And Lifestyle Entrepreneur magazine is a cutting-edge digital magazine. Really excited about it. Some cutting-edge material there. You definitely want to, if you have an iPhone, iPad. Hopefully, with the platform that we're using, we'll be able to reach the Android market shortly. If not, that's a good excuse for you to move to an iPhone and FaceTime with your kids like I do. And so anyways, just a quick plug for the magazine. We have got a lot to cover today, and I want to, first of all, just reiterate to you that we're going to talk today around how to command or create your USP to command maximum fees, right? We all want to command maximum fees. I'm going to talk to you today about what is a good USP or unique selling or sales position to instantly reposition your coaching or consulting services to command maximum fees and attract high-end clients. And I'm going to talk to you and show you today how to instantly create real market share for your business, even in an overcrowded marketplace. So you're going to want to take some notes. You're definitely going to want to jot down some diagrams that I'm going to show you, and I'm going to help you create, and how to reposition and differentiate your brand to bring a flood of high-paying clients to you. All right, so that's on our to-do list. I'm very tasky, and I'm going to help you. I'm excited about it. Why? Because clients that I work with all over the world are absolutely impressed that they can make a quantum leap in their business. and I'm here to help you with that. So with that being said, I've got markers here today in front of me because I'm going to spend some time doing a little bit of diagramming. I'm going to be in and out today. I'm going to show you some things that I want you to see off my desktop. I've got some items here that I'm going to be showing with you right here, and I've got that prepared, and we've got a lot to cover. So make sure you're in a quiet location. Grab pen, paper. If you are a client of mine right now, I would tell you to get your My IP and the Big Profits binder open, because we are going to work on helping you create intellectual property. This is the IP age. This is the advisory-based age. We're out of the information age. So we've got to put a different set of glasses on today. Glasses. We are always going to make sure we grab our coffee, because I'm all about closing deals in the moment with a nice lifestyle business at Starbucks, any Starbucks in the world like I do. And I'm going to show you how to do it really quickly and very strategically. All right? So I'm excited about this because what I'm going to show you today about building a USP. Jason Gilbert, who is in our magazine here, I interviewed Jason on branding. You definitely want to get that really powerful interview with Jason. I point to my screen here because you can see it here, 5 minutes with Jason Gilbert. Jason is a branding expert. And when Jason found out that my company was recognized by some of the leading companies like Jay Abraham's organization 8 years ago, because we were the very first company to create a USP. You know, when companies or when people say you've got to be different, yes, we all understand that, right? We've got to be different. But what's the process that you're using to ensure that you're different? So I've been covering with you over the last several weeks the power of the inverted business funnel. I've taken you through 3 strategic steps around organizing your content and chunking it. That's our word, chunking, so that you can increase the financial power of your advice. All right, so you're going to love what I'm going to show you today. I'm going to come back here just before we move forward. Let me share with you what we covered last week. I spent time with you and talked to you about competitive advantage zones that you don't want to spend time here in the red zone, okay? And this is where the typical experts and gurus will have you, because they're focusing on linear growth, because you're using the traditional business funnels. You're using and being held hostage to copywriters, having to have a website, and all this other outdated advice in a marketplace that desperately wants to select a few trusted advisors and lean on them over and over again. So I challenged all of you in your thinking to reorient your thinking around accelerating cash flow, getting above the line of profitability immediately. We spent a lot of time talking about this last week. Focusing on creating a moat, which is the black zone. How are you going to insulate or create something different in your marketplace that's going to allow you to generate accelerated cash flow? Here, the yellow zone, okay? And we called that our money sector zones. And those competitive advantage zones, if you think properly and you execute using a more intelligent business model, are going to allow you to tap into accelerated cash flow, okay? So we covered that last week, and I want to introduce to you today the Awaken Ideation process. This is the very first business acceleration USP process to create your own niche category, all right? I'm all about creating and helping clients use our business acceleration systems so they can grow a lot faster and a lot quicker, all right? And it's possible to absolutely execute and focus in ways that you're not right now if you can see something different, okay? And that's crucial, because when it comes to goal setting in today's marketplace, you know, most people are goal setting within a paradigm that, you know, they're comfortable with, and so they set goals within their paradigm of comfort. The problem with that, and we covered this a couple of weeks ago, and I gave you a program, The Person You Must Become. I gave you access to a free DVD. You don't have to pay. I just gave you a direct download for it, an interview of Rudy Rudiger from the movie Rudy, and it was an interview on how do you create your dream some fundamentals of creating your dream, and most importantly, the fundamentals of execution and focus. And in today's market, you've got to play big. You've got to create instant momentum for yourself, and that's why that dotted line that I just showed you, right, the line of profitability, is a huge line of resistance for people, entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants, people that want to be experts, people that are already experts. That line of profitability has got a downward pressure on it. It's literally holding you hostage by undervaluing your advice, by causing you to create things, items today that are just not generating cash flow, and if anything, they're causing you to undervalue your advice. So that's why we spend a lot of time talking about building inside of those competitive advantage zones and the money sectors that I showed you. So let's move forward here. And I want to, so we talked about how to create your USP. This is just a real fun picture here. There's a little squirrel here. This is at the Canadian Lake Home. We're getting ready for our next one-day Omega Mind one-day business acceleration event on June the 9th. We've got people coming in from all over the world for that, and if you'd like to get on the early notification list, we have not marketed it. I don't have to market any of our events. They just get filled up really quickly, but if you'd like to come in, that would be amazing to you. You would learn an awful lot, and most importantly, we give you a day to focus on your business and really focus on the moat that we talked about and building accelerated cash flow and leveraging the money sector. So I want to move forward here on the Awaken Ideation process. And we're going to talk, first of all, about commodity value versus dividend value. Now, just a word of warning here. I'm going to cover over the next probably 5 to 7 minutes. I'm going to go through with you some numbers, okay? So I wanted to show you these, so I have these prepared for you. These are 4 case studies of clients, and I want to show you something that is really, really important. Because I think, for you to really understand the importance of creating a USP, I want to show you specifically why being different and why leveraging a proven methodology in helping you create your market differentiation is so critical in today's marketplace. Okay, so I'm going to take you through these numbers over the next 5 minutes or so. So you're probably going to want to jot down some of these numbers. I'll come back and forth a little bit just to reinforce them. So I'm going to disappear for about 5 minutes, and then I'm going to come back. All right. So if you're just joining us because you're a little bit late, that's okay. But I wanted you just to be aware of what's happening here. Okay. So let's go back here. And let's talk about the difference between commodity value and dividend value. Most people that are following the traditional expert guru funnel, and I went through the dangers of that over the last several weeks, are really positioning themselves as a commodity. They're positioning themselves on the lowest rungs of the price ladder where all the competition is, as opposed to positioning yourself in what I call dividend value, creating massive value that produces dividends automatically, or what we call royalty revenues. All right, and that's why our programs all focus on helping you command maximum revenue and royalties for your advice, for any high-price program or service. Okay, so we don't want to turn our value into a commodity, especially in today's marketplace where we're in the recommendation age or the advisory age, and your marketplace is looking for 2 or 3 trusted advisors that they're going to lean on over and over and over again. So you want to create value that sustains long-term dividends and really tap into royalty revenues. And we covered that last week on how to command maximum fees and royalties with your advice. So let's take a look at the scenario here. And as I said, if you're just joining us, I am showing you this here before I come back on, and you'll see me, because I really want you to see the numbers, okay? And I don't want you to be intimidated by the numbers. So if we were to drive 1,000 people to your site with a fairly good conversion rate of 5%, okay, and that's very high in today's marketplace, into a $20 product. Let's look at the stats, okay? I want you to see these stats, okay? So you clear 1,000 people coming to your site, 5% are purchasing your $20 product. Here's the reality in today's marketplace. We're going to use Jennifer as an example. She's like one of many of our clients that have come to us. You know, they've got a CD or a DVD already. They've been told to market with that. But the problem is they have no market differentiation. They just, you know, put something together. You know, they go to Elance and get something whipped up, and then they think, because that's what most experts and gurus tell them, that they should outsource their core competencies and, you know, try to follow what they're doing, when the reality is that most people that are doing this, or even the experts and gurus today, are massively losing market share. And it's the reason why they end up having to promote everybody else's garbage. So if we take a look here, remember our stats, 1,000 people at 5% conversion rate. There is, if you've been following what I've been teaching you, there is at least a 50% rate of return. It's actually more like 70 to 80% of the so-called experts and gurus that teach this funnel. The return rate is horrible. Why? Because there's no proper differentiation on the front end. So on a 5% conversion rate, that means of 5% of 1,000 people, 50 people purchase your $20 product, just like they did with Jennifer, which is $1,000, but because she was getting a 50% return rate, it was actually higher than that. But I want to play conservatively here with the numbers. Let's work that as $500 for returns. That leaves her $500 on the front end. And because of the downward pressure on using the traditional business funnel, on her back end, only 2% of people moved into her $3,000 program for a total of $3,500 right here. All right, so 2% is a total of $3,500. That's all she was making, and spending a ton of money on copywriting. Like, we're talking about $12,000 on a copywriter. We're talking about a lot of time and effort creating a traditional business funnel, a lot of copy, a lot of pages to upsell, try to side sell, etc. In the end of the day, after all of her expenses, she was losing money. Okay, so the total of front end and the back end is $3,500. So just write down Jennifer, $3,500. Okay, let's take a look at Ryan. Ryan started with a CD DVD, but he used what I'm going to show you around market differentiation. And with 1,000 people coming to his website, 5% conversion rate, similar conversion, the key here, and I want all of you to see it, is the lack of return rate. Our return rates on our front end, boot camps and all that, are virtually nothing. Zero. We have no return rates on any of our high-end programs and services, and that's one of the reasons why clients love our systems. But let's just take a 5% return rate, okay? Just play very conservatively. 50 people then purchased a $20 product for $1,000, less $50 for returns. That's $950 Ryan was making on his front end. 10% of people, as opposed to 5%, were moving into his $3,000 program for a total of $15,000 on the back end. Take the front end, back end, we've got a total of $16,950, okay? A lot more profit, well, still not profitable, but a lot more, greater chance of hitting that line of profitability that we talked about at the very beginning of our training on our last Google Hangout than Jennifer, all right? So I want you to see what's happening here, okay? We're building here. So we're building now from a DVD CD with differentiation to Betty. Betty came to us and she said, Glenn, I want to build an entrepreneurially sound book, which means, really, she wanted to start building her business back end, all right? That's crucial, because we attract a lot of people that want to write books, want to create, and they understand our coaching and co-branding model. They understand the power of having a certification program, and they love what I'm going to be showing you right now. What Betty got just by having an entrepreneurially sound book, she doubled the number from Ryan. So on the front end, 100 people were purchasing her $20 program for $2,000, less $100 for return, $1,900. If you looked at what Jennifer was getting totally, $3,500, look at Betty on the front end. She's already roughly half of what Jennifer was. Then look at her back end. Because she's got a entrepreneurially sound book, and this is why we got recognized by Adobe 11 years ago now, because of our system, our entrepreneurial authoring program, that taught clients how to build out a back end coaching, consulting, training program. And so Betty leveraged that. She got 10 people to move into her $3,000 program for $30,000. No, and here's the thing. Her expenses were virtually nil. Why? Because she didn't have to hire a copywriter. She started following a lot of the systems that we were teaching. So she did $31,900, okay? Not too bad, not what I still advocate, but she was, like some of our clients are desperate to have a book done, even though my first recommendation is no, you need to really focus on building a coaching and co-branding program or leverage our mastermind monetizer model. George came with a lot more sophistication in his thinking, and not because he was any smarter than anybody else, but because he understood the power of differentiation, what I'm going to show you in just a moment. He started with an entrepreneurially sound book and our expert positioner software. Now, I'm not teaching the power of our EPS system or expert positioner software. What I want you to see is that we've got some really cool tools on helping clients close deals on the front end that require virtually no time and no effort. It just requires you to think a little bit differently, okay? Now I'm going to show you how to think differently so that you're positioned a lot better, a lot more strategic on the front end than what your competitors are. So instead of 100 people now purchasing, we doubled the numbers of Betty, both on the front end and back end. So we had 200 people purchasing his $20 product for $4,000 less $200 return. That's 5%. That's $3,800 on the front end. He was making more, look, on the front end, $3,800 than Jennifer was making totally. And the cool thing is, you didn't have to hire a copywriter. Didn't even have to have a convoluted, website, convoluted funnels, nothing like that. But here's the key on his back end, starting very conservatively with what I wouldn't call a high-end program or service. But George wanted to stair-step his thinking, and so he started with a $3,000 program just to get the confidence that he could play big and close a total of $120,000. If we take his front end and back end, he did a total of $123,800. All right. Now, I want to make a couple of observations here, and I've brought myself back into the screen here because I want those of you that joined our Google Business Breakthrough Google Hangouts late, you definitely want to make sure you're here on time so you can get the context of what I'm teaching. All right. I've just given you 4 case studies on the realities of today's marketplace. And in fact, when we talked about the downward pressure on the linear line, that red line that I drew out, that the linear line of just about every expert guru teaches, the traditional business funnel that looks like this, start with a free program and then a $19 program and then $49 and a $99 and a $499, and then we're going to get into a high-end program or service. But the reality is that your marketplace today isn't around long enough to ever get there. And I shared with you some shocking statistics that why the traditional business funnel simply is a recipe for disaster in today's marketplace. So my question to you is this: who's a better entrepreneur, George or Jennifer? Let's just take a look at Jennifer. Remember, Jennifer was the very first person we looked at. If we take a look at George, what he brought in, it was almost pure profit, $123,800, versus Jennifer, who was in the red because of all of her expense on having to follow the traditional, what the experts and gurus teach around creating her expert platform and all this outdated advice. What you see here is, if you do the math, that George is working 35 times more efficiently than Jennifer. Jennifer has to work over 35 times harder than George. And most importantly, George taps into the power of Zipf's Law. Now, I'm going to review Zipf's Law here just for you in just a second before I take you through some principles around building out your USP and a couple of diagrams here that are going to really hit home for you and how to start organizing strategically, chunking your what you should be chunking, how you should be positioning yourself in today's overcrowded marketplace that sets yourself apart and different from your competitors, okay? So I'm going to come back here, and I really want you to see this, okay? There's 2 takeaways. You cannot quantify what George makes, okay? This is why the system is much more than making money. It's about dominating your niche or your niche with your unique system. And takeaway number 2, Jennifer can't ever build a business since she has to keep working harder to get the same results. All right? So people, entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants, trainers that are all trading time for money, that are using traditional business funnels, that are listening to so much outdated advice online. That's the danger with being online. It's great if you know who to trust, and if you know that in today's marketplace that you lean on a few trusted advisors, you invest heavily in them, just like I do, for whatever. You know, we run a number of different properties. I have people that manage those, companies that manage the properties for us. So if there's an issue with one of our properties, I just get on the phone and I just have them solve the problem. I don't have to go out and try to figure out who to trust. Okay? Are you getting this? Are you getting that you've got to think a little bit differently, that you need a more intelligent business model to execute from? So let's take these 2 takeaways now, and this is what I want you to see. There's where the unbelievable opportunity exists for you today. The untold wealth lies in the fact that most entrepreneurs are going to quit. That's just the truth. In today's marketplace, you know, I gave you some shocking statistics in the coaching industry that 96% of coaches fail to make a profit. 96%. And most of them that are making money, the other 4%, are trading time for money, you know, $500 for 3 sessions a month. And other, you know, they're listening to other advice today that's just outdated. Why? Because it hasn't kept up with the economics of the recommendation age. And it requires a recommendation age because it's a day and age in which your marketplace will only select 2 or 3 trusted advisors. So that's why you've got to be very strategic on your market differentiation or building your USP. You've got to build your USP to make sure that you're in the trusted advisory state. So because I just leveraged, or I mentioned to you, Zipf's Law, this is the power of Zipf's Law. Your marketplace today is faced with a very real problem. You need to understand this. This is crucial. You probably want to write this down. With limited time and opportunity to experiment, your ideal clients intentionally narrow their choices to those who are on top. All right? So you getting that? So in other words, what Zipf's Law is saying is that in an overcrowded marketplace, there is so much competition, all right? And they're all at the same level because today just about every expert and guru has a book, right? Because of the ease of use of self-publishing, because of the power of and leverage of Amazon, because of systems that people use to fast write their book, and we guarantee them access to New York publishing. But that's one of our side programs that we don't really mention, just like I virtually never mention that I'm a best-selling author. Why? Because most people think that success comes in a book. In today's marketplace that demands speed, you remember our competitive advantage zones? You've got to have a moat. You got to focus on accelerated growth. You remember our graph here I started with as a review from last week on how to command premium prices and royalties for high-price programs. The importance of thinking and executing differently and getting the kind of marketing feedback data that's crucial to your business is absolutely essential. All right? So what I'd like to do right now is I want to take you through what a USP is. All right? So the first principle here I want you to write down is it's a big promise. Okay? Let's start there. All right? It's a big promise. J. Abraham. You know, maybe what's a lot of people that are in business consulting that help clients execute or think differently will recognize Jay as probably the father of the USP. And Jay defines it as a big promise. And that definition worked in the information age. And that definition worked when the traditional business funnel worked. But in today's marketplace, as you're going to see and I'm going to prove to you, just positioning yourself around a big promise is not enough, okay? Because we live in the trusted advisory age. So we've got to position ourselves a little bit more powerfully. So the next principle I want you to write down is leading from then a big promise is it's got to be a motivating idea. A motivating idea, all right? Your marketplace doesn't want to hear features, benefits, and advantages. They really don't. As much as, you know, you've been told that by copywriters and by other gurus and experts. Your marketplace, first of all, wants to know what is the big idea, what's the novel idea that you're bringing to the market. And secondly, they want to know what's changing in the marketplace. Okay, that's crucial before you ever talk about benefits, advantages, features. And we've spent time on a previous Google Hangout helping you think through what are the features, what are the benefits, the advantages, what are the differences, and how to leverage those differences with creating coaching and consulting programs. So let's get a lot more critical, all right, in our thinking, because we want to be like George, right, not like Jennifer. And I can help you execute 35 times more efficiently. That's going to require, I hope you see, a lot less work, where you can really start building an ROIT business because you're in positive cash flow immediately, and that's crucial. We're going to start by focusing our differentiation on solving a gap in the market, okay? There is a gap in your marketplace, all right? And I'm going to show you a couple of examples here shortly that you want to start building your market differentiation, your USP, around that gap. But before we look in that a little bit deeper, you've got to know this, that every product or every service you have must have a specific USP. Every product or service must have a specific USP. Now, we offer some very low-end products. So I do boot camps. I'm going to do another boot camp this coming Sunday evening on, it's a chance for you to make a nominal investment in our programs just to wet yourself and see why clients invest top dollar in our programs and services. So it's a safe investment for people that are checking us out. Our Google Hangouts are incredibly safe investment because you're only making one investment right now, right? That's the investment of your time. However, you intuitively know, if you're serious about business, that there needs to be an investment of your time and investment in your dollars, absolutely. Or you simply will not execute in the way that you must absolutely critically execute in today's marketplace. So if we take that thought around every product, every service, and I'm huge on taking the traditional business funnel, right? Or say the traditional business funnel, this traditional business funnel, and flipping it and positioning a high-end program and service immediately, and then tapping into royalty revenues. And that's the beauty of our coaching and co-branding program that I talked about last week. So your USP then increases in importance as you move deeper into your funnel. Okay? And in today's marketplace, where you're inverting, you must invert your business funnel if you want to develop a high-end coaching, consulting, a successful business that allows you an ROIT business. You must have a USP at the very front of your top of your business, and because you're inverting your business funnel, leveraging the heck out of that positioning, all right? So if we took a look at a traditional business funnel, then it's absolutely crucial, which I don't advocate, but your USP increases as you get to higher end programs and services, okay? So that's really important. So if you are absolutely hooked on the traditional business funnel and you're going to say, Glenn, that's the way I'm going to start, I'll say to you, more power to you. I absolutely think you're making the worst decision in business outside of listening to my advice around positioning high-end programs and services. And again, it's not because I'm trying to be arrogant or it's because I think I'm superior to anybody else. I don't. I'm not a smart guy. What I have is a highly intelligent business model just because I've been in business longer than just about anybody, and I've worked in over 120 industries, and I've had to literally roll up my sleeves and help clients execute in over 120 industries, having spent over 11,000 hours in helping clients build their market differentiation and execute, and not using all the other tools that gurus and experts give them or teach them to create, because at the end of the day, it just holds them hostage to properly valuing your advice. And I don't want to see that. You don't need a business funnel. You don't need a website. You don't need a presentation. You don't need a proposal. You don't need just about what every guru and expert says. You don't need that. What you need is to know how to differentiate yourself and position yourself around a gap in the marketplace, okay? So that gap then, let's summarize that then. The gap is going to provide you the advantage in the marketplace. The last principle around building your USP, it provides you the advantage in the marketplace. So if we take a look at, you know how I said the increasing USP, if we took one of our clients that decides to build a service, which I'm huge on, and an ROIT service, return on invested time service, and then building a higher end service. So some of our clients model what I'm doing and create a tiered service-based system. Each of those differences in higher end programs and services, like our programs run anywhere from $10,000 all the way to $120,000. And every program has its own specific USP. And the bigger the program, the bigger the USP. That's what I want you to understand. Every program hits a gap in the marketplace. All right? So you following me? So I want to show you then here what I mean by that. And if we take a look here, I've drawn out our Venn diagram approach to differentiation. Okay, on a previous Google Hangout we covered this. And this is the gap then, which is the mutually inclusive area of all of the three overlapping circles, our Venn diagram approach. These other two areas here are other areas of differentiation for you. Okay, and I just want you to make sure that if you haven't seen this before, that you draw this out, because I'm going to take you through a couple of examples right now. All right, so let's take a look here at, and I'm just going to use a couple of examples from my own company, and I'm going to fill in a couple of things here for you. That's why I've got my markers here. But if I draw the Venn diagram approach to market differentiation, okay, right here, this approach, so I'm going to draw that here, and with my trusty rusty markers, and so I've drawn it here, and I'm going to label this coaching and co-branding. Okay, and these are this is one of our programs that our Omega Mind clients receive, and so I've just done this right now. Okay, so I'd like you to do draw three overlapping circles, a Venn diagram approach to what you do. Okay, and I'm going to show you how I label these three circles, because how you label those three circles is crucial on chunking your advice. All right, so and chunking your advice now is crucial, because what you want to do is chunk your advice or organize your advice in such a way that clearly gives you a gap in the market that's really tied ultimately to your marketplace's negative perception that goes on in the market. Okay, so let me just disappear here for a second. And this is our Awaken ideation process. We're going to spend some time on a boot camp on Sunday. I'm going to go through it with you step by step. All right, so you're going to want to follow, and you're going to want to, if you're really serious about business, you definitely want to jump on this. But we want to start with, how does your target market view its problems, number one. Number two, who are your competitors? And three, and most importantly, to get that gap in the marketplace, what is the negative perception that your ideal clients have of your competitors? Okay, so when we're talking about the gap in the marketplace, we really want to nail what is the negative perception that your clients have, your ideal clients have, of what your competitors fail to do. And so we're going to list that gap then right here, okay, right where I've drawn colored in red here, okay? You following me? All right, let me just give you another example of how I use the Venn diagram approach with our own business here. This is another example of our ideation process where we've got a really cool system, 3 levels that I'm going to cover at our boot camp on this coming weekend. It's all built around what is your passion, expertise, what can you be the best in the world at, your system, and what is your economic magnifier. How do you build your own coaching, consulting, co-branding program, or your mastermind monetizer program, which are our 2 systems that all of our Omega Mind clients leverage in their business, okay? So if I label now this right here, I'm going to choose 3, I'm going to label these 3 overlapping circles right now. One of them I'm going to focus on, let me get my red marker here, and business acceleration, because that's one of our systems that we're known for. Okay, so I've labeled circle A here, business acceleration. Okay, so I want you to think about how can you organize your thinking that allows you to take a look at and start grouping your advice and coalescing it together. The next circle, B, we'll call it circle B, is co-branding. Okay, so when I am working on how to differentiate what my company does differently, I can do this. My second circle here then would be co-branding. Okay, that gives us another way of uniquely teaching or organizing the advice that makes me different in the marketplace. And the third area that makes me different, and there are some companies that are teaching this right now, but our model is completely different than that, but I'm going to label it certification. And what makes our certification program different is it's entrepreneurial based. We covered that last week. It's the step 2 of our 3-step process, going from leveraging, building out, maximizing, and exploding profits to building royalty revenues. And the last area then is certification. And really certification, one of our areas, and then so what you're going to do then, as you chunk these areas, you're going to create some bullets on what makes you different in each of these areas, okay? Just like this. So you'll have bullets here for business acceleration, bullets here for co-branding, and talking points down here for certification that really start building out the gap in the market and what makes us different. Because at the end of the day, we want to focus on competitive advantage zone, right? Which is our area of mutually inclusivity. Okay, what is the area that overlaps all 3 areas? And that's how you start building your differentiation. And in our certification process, on one of our bullets, what we would talk about is accelerated teaching and learning, because I'm a teacher. And I believe wholeheartedly that the skill sets of making it in business and the skill sets of teaching somebody to be successful in business are completely separate. And that's one of the reasons why clients choose our company globally. And I use that marketing feedback data because I ask them, why did you choose us? And that's what they tell us. They love the inverted business funnel. They like the concept of diagramming out your competitive advantage. They love the Venn diagram approach to building out your competitive advantage, just like this, okay? Let me give you another example, okay? I hope that's helping. I'm going to draw here 3 more overlapping circles, okay? And I'm going to label this our Mastermind Monetizer program, okay? Just like this, okay? And I've shaded in the 3 other areas here are green, areas that overlap with each of these individual with the circles, okay? And there's some pretty cool mathematical properties if you remember from your math days in elementary school when you were introduced to Venn diagrams, and then high school, and then if you studied Venn diagrams like I had to in first year university because I was in pre-med, so I had to take math, calculus my first year. But Mastermind Monetizer is a second program that we offer to all of our Omega Mind clients, all right? And so this is how I would organize my thinking and chunk my thinking, okay? Because chunking is a teaching term. It's a way of making sure that you don't just talk randomly about what it is that you do, but you're very calculating in how you discuss, because remember, we want to follow a consultative process on bringing people, your ideal clients, to the logical conclusion to choose you by leveraging your USP, the gap in the marketplace, all right? So I'm going to label circle number 1 here, or circle A, I should say. We've got a really cool system on teaching clients how to command premium prices. Okay, and this is the cool thing around our Mastermind Monetizer program. You don't have to be an expert, all right? So that's it right here. So I just put down here circle A, command maximum prices, premium prices. And what I'm going to do there now is I'm going to, again, do bullets. And I've listed these bullets here. These will become the discussion points that build my company's differentiation in circle A, okay, on our Venn diagram approach. Now, circle B could be the area of focus and execution, okay? and with a focus on building an ROIT business. Okay, so I could build out bullet points for the second area here, B, around building focus, execution, building an ROIT business, just like that. Okay, you seeing this? And then the third area, which I love, my clients love, is, and one of the reasons why they like coming to the Vegas Sandcastle or the Canadian Lake Home in June. Clients are coming back in July, and in this fall, because it's absolutely gorgeous in our area. I showed you a picture of a little squirrel. Still is kind of early spring here because we've had a really cold, nasty winter, and it's not very nice out today. If you see a bit of glow on my head, I actually forgot to shut the blinds here in our international office here on the window here, so that's why I'm a little bit not loopy. But well, ask my wife; she probably thinks I am. But why I'm shining a little bit more on one side than the other. So our C area would be our luxury home coaching and consulting CNC model. Okay, and then again, I'm going to create some discussion points around that. Okay, so it's going to look like that: luxury homes, circle C. Okay, luxury home coaching and consulting model, and then create some very specific bullets that make me unique in this area. So when you start focusing on all the key areas here, 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 you can even become even more critical in your thinking and in your positioning by taking the bullet points that overlap in this area right here, okay? And that's how you can really build out some strong positioning for your company and focusing on, like we do with our Mastermind Monetizer model, or our coaching and co-branding model right here, all right? How we can leverage our positioning in the marketplace. And just wanted to give you a couple of examples there on what you can do as well, all right? So the that is, I think we're going to talk more about our ideation process and building out your USP on a boot camp that I'm going to be doing on Sunday. So you'll want to take note of that. All right. So let me just summarize. And we started today with a quick review on what we covered last week on our Business Breakthrough Google Hangout around commanding premium prices and royalties for your advice. If you missed that, you definitely want to go through it. There's nobody teaching this. And trust me, there is nobody teaching this today, and that's going to give you such a competitive advantage by understanding how to be a lot more critical in your thinking and execution, so you can be like George and really begin to leverage an ROIT business. So from that, I took you through 4 case studies just to build the context for the importance of differentiation. I showed you how George was 35 times more competent, not maybe competent, but definitely his business model is a lot more competent than Jennifer's business model, right? Where Jennifer's going to work a lot harder, and she's already not in profitability and never will be, and just dumping out more and more money. I dumped out, following that model 11 years ago, about $65,000 when I was a vice principal of an elementary school, and I spent more money trying to figure things out than I was actually making as a vice principal. So that model is just, if it didn't work back then, or it wasn't very efficient back then, today's model, it's ruinous to business acceleration, where your marketplace wants to lean on you. But they need to understand what makes you different. And you need to communicate it in the most meaningful way. And hence, I took you through some principles around building your USP. I talked to you about the importance of leveraging Zipf's law, and how important that law is, especially in an overcrowded marketplace and in the recommendation age and the economics of the recommendation age. And then I took you through a couple of examples, just using a simple Venn diagram approach, one of the many systems that we've created for our clients, to teach them how to become a lot more critical in their thinking and to begin to differentiate themselves. That's really what a USP is, again, differentiating yourself in the marketplace. So anyways, take these concepts that I covered with you and the systems that some of the systems that I shared with you today, make them yours by implementing them. And I look forward to our next Business Breakthrough Google Hangout. And if we could be of further assistance to you, don't hesitate to phone our international office. It's the same number that all my clients phone, 519 542-3043, 519-542-3043. Have a great one, and I'm really excited about the boot camp we're doing this weekend and our next Google Hangout next Monday, 2 o'clock EDT, and you'll be with me for another Business Breakthrough Google Hangout. Have a great one, everyone.